Are you negotiating from strength? Today on the Landlord Coach Daily-ish Show.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0, ignition, liftoff.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Landlord Coach Daily-ish Show. My name is Mark Dolfini, your host and Landlord Coach. It's really good to see you today. It's a gorgeous day outside, and my bride and I are going to go to the gym afterwards, and we're fired up about that because we are ready to shed our winter pounds. So I'm going to be busting right out of here. But right now, you don't care about that. What you care about is what we're talking about today is, are you negotiating from strength? So we're going to talk about that. And this is actually a topic I referenced in the Time Wealthy Investor 2.0, which I'm going to do a quick shameless plug on that. If you'd like your own copy, if you'd like a free copy of the Time Wealthy Investor 2.0, you can just go to landlordcoach.com/videos. It is truly free. All I ask is you cover the shipping portion, and I will send it right out to you, and I will sign it, and then you can't even give it away to someone else. So, hey, Rebecca. It's only you again. Yes, it's good to see my only fan. So, wait, there's someone else watching, so I don't know who that is, but it's good to see you. Thanks for showing up. I appreciate you. Appreciate all my fans, both of you, including the ones I don't pay. But anyway, so are you negotiating from strength? That's what we're going to be talking about today. So, now, this show, I know there's other people who watch this show who have really no interest in the rental property operation, but the thing is, this is really, it's about general business stuff, right? There's just a lot of general business stuff that is just common sense. Now, there's so little common sense, it seems to be in my industry. Unfortunately, common sense is not that common. And it's frustrating because I see a lot of people that are making very, very basic mistakes, and they're negotiating against themselves. And this is one of the things that just drives me absolutely bananas, because they often are doing things that they think are right, but they don't really think it through. And I'm going to give you a really solid example at times when especially rental housing providers are negotiating against themselves, or they're negotiating from weakness. They're not negotiating from strength. So where I see this happen oftentimes is when someone is putting a lease together, right? So they think that they're doing right by putting someone in a lease, and for whatever reason, it's in their mind that they should put them into a 12-month lease. And not really sure why, but that just seems to be the case. And it doesn't matter the time of year that they're putting that person into a 12-month lease. Now, this is like this time of year for many markets, it would make sense to do a 12-month lease because the lease would end at a time where it would be leasing season again. Right? So in this particular case, you would be negotiating from strength when other people want to move, when it wouldn't be too difficult to find another resident to move in and negotiate a fair rental price for both parties. Right? Makes sense. However, where it gets a little bit strange is that I've often seen this where you'll get a rental housing provider, and this is not just for small landlords who you think should know better. I see this in the property management industry as well, and I see people negotiating against themselves all the time in any sort of ongoing renewal contract where they're not negotiating from a position of strength. So in this particular case, we're going to stick with just the area of renewing a rental agreement, where if they bought a property, say for example they bought a property in maybe October, and they put someone in a 12-month lease. So think through this a little bit. This isn't even hard math. If you signed a lease in October, when is that lease going to renew if it's a 12-month lease? Obviously, it's going to renew at the end of September, which is not ideal for most markets, especially if it's a house, a rental house that's going to have more than one bedroom, where there might be children involved. No parent wants to move in the middle of a school year, not if they can prevent it anyway. So the thing that is the thing that doesn't make any sense to me is why someone would do that, why they would negotiate against themselves. There's typically going to be a leasing season that is where most people would want to move. Generally when the weather is not too hot, not too cold, generally when it's not so miserable to move. So, and like I said, every market is a little bit different. If you're in student housing, there's probably a different time of the year when renewals will happen. So why would you negotiate against yourself? Why would you put a lease end date that would not put you in a prime negotiating position? And this goes on both sides, right? I wouldn't want a resident to have to move out at the end of September or October, or worse. Here's another one where I see rental housing providers, again, we'll refer to you as RHPs. So you RHPs out there, whether you're a landlord or you're a rental housing provider or property manager or whatever, that they'll do an extension that, again, takes them outside of leasing season. And they'll often do an extension for no additional premium, right? So follow me here for a second. Let's say someone calls up and says, hey, you've been great to me, I love renting from you, all this stuff, but, we're going to be moving out, and we're going to be building a house. Okay, congratulations, you're going to be building a house. Well, the thing is, the builder said, this is what's hilarious, the builder said that it's only going to take 3 months for it to build. Oh, okay. Have they started building it? No, they haven't started it yet. Right. No offense to builders out there. I'm not trying to to call you out, but I have yet to encounter a builder that actually lands on the date that said that, yes, they're going to build, they're going to be done in 3 months. Oh, no, they promised. I'm sure they did. But so they want to extend the lease for 3 months while they're building your house. All right. So you want me to move the lease end date from the end of May to the end of, so you got June, July, August. Now I'm at the end of August, and in this market, kids school, not college, but kids school has already started. Now maybe colleges have also started, but I'm talking about specifically in kids school. Now in New York and other markets, they don't start until after Labor Day. But you want me to go to the end of August. Now I'm not negotiating from a position of strength, because now I'm not going to get that property back until the 1st of September, and now I'm going to try to get that property rented. That doesn't, and realistically, your house is not going to be done in 3 months. Again, it just doesn't happen. So that's what I'm talking about, where people are, so naturally it's going to get to that end of that 3 months period. They're going to want another month or 3, and now you are left with an empty property, and there's snow on the ground, and now you're hit. Now it could possibly be a struggle for you to get someone else in, and you're not negotiating from strength. There's not as many people that are looking for rental housing generally when there's Christmas trees up, right? And that's just the reality of it. Now, fortunately, right now it's a very strong rental market, so there's a lot of people looking for places to live. There's lots of demand for it. So could you take take a chance on doing something like that? Sure, you could. But I don't like taking those sorts of risks. I want to make sure that I'm getting people into contracts and I'm getting them through at least the heart of the winter season, so I'm not likely, again, trying to find someone to rent my property when there's not as many people trying to do it. So you did. What are you saying, Rebecca? I say I did what? Not trying to get some clarity in terms of what you're saying there. So, but anyway, if you have a situation like this, sometimes it's unavoidable. Sometimes you just say, well, you've been a good resident, I don't mind working with you a little bit, but you darn well should charge a premium for the additional risk that you're taking. So if you are taking additional risk, it wouldn't be unrealistic to add a 10 or 20% premium at a minimum to the rent to offset the additional risk that you're going to be taking on. Because if that property does sit vacant, realistically someone's moving out, their lease ends December 31st, what's the likelihood of you getting someone to move in New Year's Day? Pretty slim, right? So again, take that into consideration when you're doing these negotiations. So in terms of other negotiations, outside of this industry, how are you negotiating against yourself? How are you negotiating when you're not negotiating from strength, whether it's sitting down and having conversations in, okay, so you're saying my tenants did not renew their lease, but I gave them a month to one. Are you saying you did a month to month? Because if you did a month to month, that's not bad as long as you're not going outside of leasing season or outside of when you have a still opportunity to rent it to someone else. And if you're doing it with a premium, making sure that you're getting a premium for giving them that flexibility. Now, obviously, the flexibility runs both ways. You could raise the rent with just 30 days notice and things like that. So yeah, that's it. So you're saying you gave them a month to month. Okay. So for me, I wouldn't necessarily be upset with that as long as by a certain cutoff date, I would say, okay, I'm done with, we're not doing month to month anymore. I want to make sure that I have my ducks covered, going through the period where it is not as likely for me to get someone renting the property, right? So yeah, so you didn't do the premium, which is not, you're giving them basically the flexibility without any, there's no benefit for you to give them that, in my personal opinion. I would at least give them, charge a 5 to 10% premium to, if I was going to give them that flexibility. Otherwise, there's really no point in even having a lease, except maybe to hold them accountable to certain things that they're doing, right? So that's what I would do. But again, your mileage may vary. But again, because you're in a month-to-month tenancy, you only generally have to give them, most states, you generally only have to give them a 30-day notice that, hey, next month I am going to be charging you more. Or, hey, next month I'm not renewing the month-to-month tenancy and you need to sign a new lease. You need to go to a, 6-month or 8-month or whatever term brings you back around into the prime leasing season for your area. So that's just my suggestion. So regardless of whatever it is that you're negotiating, whatever you're trying to negotiate, make sure you're negotiating from a position of strength, and make sure that you're not negotiating against yourself, whatever it is, whether it's you're negotiating with your suppliers, whether you're negotiating with your vendors, your customers, whatever that is, just make sure that you're not negotiating against yourself. Even things like location matters, when you negotiate, where you negotiate, and those sorts of things. So not going to go any further than that because we're about ready to wrap up. But once again, I'm just going to go ahead. If this is something I covered fairly in depth in the Time Wealthy Investor 2.0, which is, look how fancy I am. I've got that all ready and teed up for you now. So if you'd like to get a copy of this book, man, I suck at this. If you'd like to get a copy of this book, you just go ahead and go over to landlordcoach.com/videos. There's other videos in there. There's other free downloads in there that you can get that are some really good things. There's a cash flow analysis calculator and template in there that shows you how to do that and make sure you're doing it the right way. But you can head over to landlordcoach.com/videos. And then, of course, you can get your copy of the Time Wealthy Investor 2.0 for free. And all I ask is that you just cover your shipping. One other quick plug I'd like to do, and I'll take this other thing down here, is head over to, if you'd like to join the Landlord VIP Lounge. This is going to be a group that I'm going to be hosting, and going to be hosting some discussions in there. And if you're not a landlord or you're not even interested in that side of it, that's okay. Again, we're going to be talking about general business stuff. Of course, we're going to be talking about some landlording stuff as well. But realistically, I want to make you into a business owner, not an operator, not a landlord. I don't want you. The irony is I don't want to be your landlord coach. The irony is I want to make sure that you are having a business, right? That's the whole point of this. Having a business, having a vessel that delivers your ideal life. And if you're feeling stuck, maybe in there we can help you get unstuck. So that's what the whole point of that group is for. All right. Well, that's all I have for today, everybody. I hope you place a value on your free time. Because guess what? If you don't, someone else will. But most important, there is no amount of money that will make time irrelevant. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys next time.